Hello, welcome to another episode of what I've been informally calling Mando Talk. We're just here to talk about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. This time, episode 10, it's
Chapter
episode 10.
10.
The Passenger.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yep, and again, as long as the Mythosar's up there, we are spoiler-free. So the first bit of this will be spoiler-free. After that, Mythosar is going to go away, and we are going to talk spoilers. Basically do a kind of recounting of the episode and just talk about some of the stuff we found in the meantime. So I am Seriann1987, and I kind of run this channel and Sunday Night RPG. We will talk about Sunday Night RPG at the end. But we are a long-form actual play channel is kind of what we normally do. And joining me again is Beardsly. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yep, I'm Beardsley. That's it. I need no further introduction. No, yeah. So Beardsley89 everywhere on Twitch, Twitter, Snapchat. Which I've had some people add me on Snapchat. Not sure if they're just hackers or whatnot, or random people who've been following us. Not sure.
Who knows?
I've ignored you. So if you've added me from here, you have to find me somewhere else and let me know.
Fix my camera. Sorry about that. Anyway, so episode 10, The Passenger.
Yeah.
This one, I enjoyed it, but it didn't really hit me as much as last one did.
No, yeah, it's definitely got the filler type episode where we were expecting a little bit more going into the mythos of what's going on, and we kind of just get this almost immediate filler episode that was towards episode like 4 and 5 of the season 1,
and especially considering the Boba Fett cameo at the end of that last episode. It's like I expected them to do something more with that, but
exactly.
No, so this one seems like it would have been much more appropriate Halloween time frame.
yeah, which I mean, they started just a little bit late. If it aired last week, then yeah, it would have been perfect because it's definitely got that horror monster vibe to it. Yeah,
but there are some things I definitely did enjoy. I enjoyed the fact that we see more of Mando Dad. We see a lot more of Baby Yoda this time around compared to last episode. He was kind of invisible last episode. Like he was around. He was there for some comedic moments, but he really wasn't there. And I think that
he was just kind of hiding around either in a pocket or the spittoon.
Yeah. So, but no, this one I think did a good job of. The other thing I really liked is consequences. There were consequences for episode 1, or from season 1. We'll talk about that later, but in the spoiler section. But yeah, there was consequences. They're keeping it as a complete whole universe. Things are happening very. I don't want to say quickly, but we're not getting time jumps like we were last season. This episode last episode led right into this episode, which is going to lead right into the next episode. So one of the other things I'm excited about, the fact that if you look at the footage we've seen in the trailer so far, we are burning through that fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, we were like through most of the
and I'm imagining
season 2 preview trailers.
The world we're going to is going to be like when he's on the boat, when he's at the docks, and he meets the shadowy figure. Like that's what I'm anticipating the next episode is going to be. So, I am excited for the fact that the entire second half of the season is going to be like there's been nothing revealed about it. So, Beardsley, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I wrote just a little spoiler-free thing. I said it was a good romp through the Star Wars universe, but does little to explore the mythos of the overall story that we've been experiencing so far, but still gives us that same fresh air feeling that we get, the breath of fresh air for the Star Wars universe overall.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I'd agree with that. The
And does bog down from, it does feel like a filler episode. So again, because you're not getting that continued story. Although it is setting up for this third episode.
yeah,
It's
and
definitely a setup for it, but
I don't know. Just hearing the we're gonna travel through sublight. I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was definitely expecting like
I was expecting a bottle episode where it's just going to be something weird's going to happen, like the ship's going to break down and they're going to have to try and survive while limping through
right.
sublight.
Well,
Kind of like in Firefly, they've done that episode. Most sci-fi shows do that, at least that episode once, where you're limping through and you're just trying to survive. You have low oxygen, type
yeah.
whatever.
I think my biggest issue with this episode was the fact that he's traveling how many planets over, or how many systems over.
One sector over, but
Right.
I don't know what that I don't think we've ever explained in Star Wars what that actually
But
means.
I'm assuming it's between interstellar space, and it seems like
Yeah.
it wasn't that far of a distance.
Yeah, and it looked like it was maybe 3 or 4 systems over.
Yeah, and it's like
Based off of the flight plan that we do see him, it looks like he's slingshotting around the main stars.
which I can see that for gravity assist, but just I've been doing a lot of research on actual like space physics. And it just seems like they sped that episode up way too much. Like the trip should be taking a lot longer, and I think
Yeah.
it's something that they've been doing with the new Disney canon. I haven't really been a fan of is the like condensed universe, like hyperspace. And it used to be
Yeah.
we're gonna go to hyperspace and we'll be there in a week.
Yeah, which I mean, technically the older trilogy doesn't really do a lot to say how long time travel, space travel was, but I mean, you did get the feeling that there was at least some time.
Yeah, yeah,
Compared to when you have episode 9 and they're hyperspace skipping, and it's like,
yeah. I was not a huge fan of that either.
yeah, it's more like wormhole jumping than it was hyperspace travel. Which I mean, if they explained it differently, maybe
Right.
that's what hyperspace is. But
And you're right. It's mostly the
it's not.
EU that's been that expanded
Yeah.
like how long hyperspace can take. But
Which
given the
was,
vastness of
weeks.
space,
Yeah.
and it might just be hitting me hard because I'm rereading the original Thrawn trilogy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but just the fact that hyperspace gets you there faster, almost immediately, and the fact that sublight really doesn't take that long. It condenses the universe, and while I'm totally on board for a science fantasy, it just seems too fast. Like it lets you do the story too fast,
Yeah.
So, and you're also removing the element of it's going to be a race against time, and like going back to the Throne trilogy, it's the fact that he could coordinate that the hyperspace jumps and everything like that so precisely really sells the tactical genius of Thrawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Which I think any amount of time could have passed between one scene cut end into the next one when with it, but it feels like it's almost an instant. Like, hey, not much time has passed.
right. Well, and especially she has to be there by the equinox.
Yeah.
It's like
Which
you're saying it like it's
how
2 weeks from now.
Space, yeah, and equinox in space seems kind of weird because you think
Right.
equinox is based on planetary systems with traveling around their own star. How does that work in interstellar travel? Like, you have
Right.
a interstellar equinox,
Or is it
Is there
is
a-
it the equinox on Coruscant?
yeah. So yeah, yeah, which I think technically, the Force Awakens shows that that's not Galactic Center anymore.
Right.
So what do they use as the Galactic Center time for everything?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that's one thing about the Empire is they could mandate everything runs on Coruscant time. So, anyway, before we get off too far on the esoterica, that's about all I got on non-spoilery stuff because It was a decent episode. It was an enjoyable watch.
Yep.
Not one of
again,
my
written
favorites.
written by Jon Favreau again.
Yep.
Which I think every episode so far has technically been written by
He
Favreau.
wrote 6 of the 8.
And then the director was Peyton Reed. I did write that down, which, if anyone knows, is the director of Ant-Man.
Right.
2015 Ant-Man. So, because I know the name popped up and I was like, man, that sounds so familiar. I had to look it up. I was like, I know that name.
Right. So yeah, no, that was. I think he did a good job directing it. It's just, it's a filler episode to get Mando from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And continue his hunt for different Mandalorians. So, not much really to say there. So, if you don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and move on to the spoiler stuff.
Yeah, let's go into spoilers. All right.
All right, Mythosaur's gone. Time for spoilers. So we're gonna do kind of what we did last time, where we're just gonna kind of go scene by scene and talk, or section by section and talk about it. I was unable to take notes this time, so Beardsly's gonna kind of be leading us through this one. So
cool. All right. I split up. I don't know, because you said 6 parts last time, so I kind of just split up into 6 parts again.
I did it based on
for
like,
me,
this is a part, like them on the first planet was a part.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I mean, I made it fit. I made it work. It works. So the first part was just picking right back up. So on Tatooine. And so it picks up immediately from where Chapter 9 ends. You have it, Mando speeding off at the beginning of Chapter 10. But then we do see, which I'm assuming these are bounty hunters from the Empire. Other people said that online, so when I did my research on it, you see them setting up a trap. It's a trap.
Well, I think they were there just to emphasize that people are still hunting Baby Yoda.
Exactly. And so it's a never-ending threat.
To reinforce it to Mando that you got to keep moving.
Yep. Which again, some good. I want to get like a sticker that says "Best Car Saves," or something. Something that we could throw in maybe with some of our car stuff or whatever as well. Just because he get hits like 4 times or whatever in this fight. It's a lot of times where if anyone else got hit by that, that they'd be dead.
Right.
But we definitely are emphasizing, I think, this episode more than we did even last episode, that Beskar can, deflect or absorb blaster bolts and like not even phase him. So,
I did like when he gets knocked off the speeder bike, how he recovers using the jetpack.
Yep.
I don't know, like, I liked it, but it seemed a little too fluid, a little too practiced.
Hey, maybe he practiced. Maybe that's part of foundling training. Hey, we're going to put you on a little speeder bike, and you're going to have to do this race, and stuff happens, Who knows?
My heart broke a little bit when the Baby Yoda went flying and spinning through the dirt.
Right. You're like, oh no, Yoda, no. Which I've been calling him Boda, like Baby Yoda. So I don't know. It's like all my notes are Boda did this, Boda did that.
So I'm game for it. Boda it is.
All right. Yep. There you go. Internet's Boda. Anyways, I like the, especially when the whatever alien, I don't even know what race of alien it was. The smaller one picks up Boda and has him at knife point. And you're like, ooh. And then you're expecting like him to do some sort of weird force stuff to get out of it.
Right.
But then they do the bargain. And so he trades his backpack, his jetpack for Boda. And you're like,
launches the guy.
He lost his jetpack. And then I don't know why I should have expected it. I didn't expect it until I saw him hit something on his arm, and then you just see him fly off. You're like, yeah, I guess Mando doesn't. He betrays people if he needs to. He gets by on technicality.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He gets by on technicality.
Yeah, just like in the previous episode. I swear I won't kill you by my hand, or you won't die by my hand. But then he just leaves the guy there and turns the light out for the monsters to get him.
Right. Yeah. So, no, and that was just, again, I think that scene was just to reinforce that people are hunting Mando or Baby Yoda or Boda, and
then at the same time, I think it's also that the betrayal. When you look at it, Boda looks up at him. He's like giving an approving smirk.
Yeah, again, this kid is being exposed to so much violence and
Yeah,
death,
so
and
much like grayness in the world, and you're like, ooh, is he gonna know what the difference is between right and wrong, or is he just how much of a moral guide will he have with Mando being his adopted dad for right now?
well, I think they get into that a little bit later in the episode too, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, later, yeah, there is a line, but at the same time, yeah, it just you're wondering like because I mean he was choking
Cara
Cara
Dune, yeah.
Dune as well, and you're like, I don't know, and obviously he said no, it's wrong, but at the same time you're like, how long are they going to play that for the show?
Right. I don't know. So,
So yeah, I mean that was the chase scene for the whole part of Tatooine. I do it until he leaves planet in my part section.
yeah.
So he walks back across the Dune Sea or whatever. I'm not sure.
Right.
Why he doesn't use his jetpack to fly? I guess there must not be enough fuel
Probably not,
to fly
because
all the way or hook up both jetpacks into one thing and just whatever. I don't know.
I think it was just more a matter of
We just wanted to watch him walk into town.
yeah, you're going with the Western motif. Have him walk into town.
Yep. And he walks into a cantina, and we have I forget what her name is, but the person who fixes his ship and stuff. That he's
Right.
met a couple times before. She's there playing Sabak with a giant ant,
Which
which is a nod towards Peyton Reed because he's directed Ant-Man. I looked it up. I thought it was supposed to be a Killick. Apparently not. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? Which, if anyone knows what Killick is, it's a sentient bug type thing that came from Alderaan, but then
so
moved out all the way into the Outer Rim somewhere, unknown regions.
right. Palmato is the character, played by Amy Sedaris.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So, no, I think the I want to say I saw the ant creature in the cantina in the original trilogy.
Oh, okay. I mean, they said, at least when I looked it up, it said Peyton Reed added it in as a nod towards him having directed Ant-Man. So
It's
maybe
Antony.
it's just like, hey, I found
Antony lives on in
an
Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's called Dr. Mandible, which I looked up the name. I was like, nope, this is a completely new character, so it's not something that we'd seen before or in any fashion.
Right.
But, I mean, the name Dr. Mandible sounds like it would be something we would have seen in this universe possibly once.
Right. You'd hope so.
I hoped, but no. But I mean, and he could be a Killick, but I mean, it's kind of, well, I guess with the new universe, they could be anywhere.
Right. But yeah, they were playing Sabak, obviously, when she won with an Idiot's Array.
Exactly, yeah.
Which I much appreciate that game more when it's just kind of this mystery. You don't know exactly how it's played.
Which, I mean, in the expanded universe, at least they're all, from my understanding, like kind of like electronic cards. Or
Yeah, they were electronic cards.
Your hand could shift and change at any time. And this is it's definitely more poker. They've definitely made it more since Solo, because it's actual physical cards and people are cheating and obviously Lando had the cards up his sleeve,
right?
Type thing. So definitely. But I like poker. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, it could also have been Pizzak. We could have thrown that into the universe too. That would have been fun.
I'd be happy.
We'll see that later.
More. I'm always happy with more different kinds of games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so easy to be. Oh, we're all playing Sabak, and
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh,
And
hey, we made spatcha as a drink, so we're all drinking spatchka now.
Yeah, right. And if Mandalorian wants to keep up the Western motif, I think they have to have a Sabak themed episode a la Maverick.
Oh, that would be great.
Heck, even get Mel Gibson or Gene Hackman to come in. uh, get Donald Glover to come in and age him up a little bit, make him look like Billy D. We could have him. We could throw him in here.
We could, yeah.
Donald Glover in the Mandalorian at some point would be fun. I think to see him post return, and see what he's doing. Before.
And of course I wonder how many of the expanded universe stuff they're going to keep.
Right. Yeah, because I know because I looked ahead for some of the next few episodes, trying to see if there are any new actors, new characters being showed up, but apparently they only have for every episode going forward. I don't know if it's just IMDb put it up there or if that's actually true. It's most of the main characters from last season. So we have Cara Dune, Moff Gideon, and Carl Weathers' character. They're all assigned to the next 8 epides.
Yeah, and regardless of how many they actually appear in, which you know what, the way they did the advertising for this, it really, like, they're putting everything that happened in the trailer so close to the beginning. I'm totally fine with it.
Which I also was hearing. There's some rumors that maybe Sabine and a couple other characters might be showing up from Rebels, possibly.
Potentially,
especially with Mandalorians. Like maybe that's who we're going to see in this next episode is someone from Rebels and Clone Wars.
I'd totally be fine with that. So,
but yeah, so he leaves. We'll just continue on going back. Dr. Mandible sends a frog lady, which is apparently there's no name for this
it's frog
character, so we just call her Frog Lady. It's just a sentient frog race, which looks exactly like how you'd think a frog would look like if it was bipedal, who's carrying a tank of unfertilized eggs, which is an interesting thing to see them carry around, I guess.
Yeah.
And so her husband sees Mandalorians on a planet that they've gone to fertilize the eggs and grow them. So I guess apparently Tatooine's not a hospitable environment to raise children. Who knew?
Especially aquatic children.
Yeah. Yeah. Which begs to, like, how did they get on Tatooine? I mean, how did she survive so long on Tatooine? Or however long they've been there? Like, weird questions I had that entire, like, they must have had some weird, like, spot in Mos Eisley or wherever that was, they had to have been rich or something to have a lot much moisture to keep them
moist.
But at the same time, like, she's getting a free chartered ride from Mando, so obviously not that rich.
Right. They spent all their money on the water, so
Right. So it has a trailer, the passenger.
Right.
Where the title name comes from, and they can't fly in hyperspace because that will kill the eggs, which are unfertilized. I don't know how hyperspace kills eggs, but
I think it's just supposed to be they're fragile.
Yeah.
So,
which, I mean, that whatever.
Yeah.
Plot device.
Plot device. That's, I think, the best way to say it. Plot device.
Yep. All right, which then gets us into the second part, space travel. That's what I put it as. So I liked because he can't speak frog, but Amy Sedaris' character could speak frog, which is weird. It's all like,
right.
Okay. But he can speak. He can speak.
He can speak Tusken,
sand people,
but he
Tusken,
can't
but he doesn't
frog.
Can't speak frog. But he also speaks Huttese.
Right.
A little bit, but it sounded the way he said it is like, do you speak Huttese? Almost sounded like how some people have like a basic understanding of Spanish. He's like, yo hablo español.
Yeah, I could see that.
So he might have like a passing, understanding of Huttese, but not very fluent in it. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. Which it was nice to have Star Wars.
Yeah.
Two people who can't talk to each other.
Exactly. Yeah, non-basic speaking.
without a droid present to translate.
Exactly. So not everybody's a Chewbacca or a Wookiee who just people can pick up on and speak
Right. Well, that was one of the
and
other
they
things
understand.
about the Thrawn trilogy was they introduced a Wookiee character who could speak Basic because he had a speech
Because he had a
impediment.
speech impediment. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean the first bit of space travel, my biggest complaint is it just makes it seem like space is so condensed. Nothing
Yeah.
takes
It's not
time.
vast or empty. It's just it's just a hop skipping away to go
Yeah.
14 systems away. I mean, they're only going to the next sector, which is apparently only a couple planets away, but at the same
Which
time,
I mean,
I
that was
mean,
totally fine by me. Was the how
yeah.
close the other sector was? It was like, well, it's just, Tatooine's a
But I
border
mean,
planet. I don't have the actual like atlas. I'd be curious to see how accurate it is to the actual atlas. But they seem to be going through a lot of effort in making sure the show is consistent.
yeah. Yeah. I guess I kind of just want some explanation of how fast sublight drive is.
Well, like
Because they said it's going to be somewhat of a long thing, but it didn't seem like it was going to be too long of a thing where he's, inconvenienced. Really, it's just more of like he's worried about getting attacked by people.
yeah, which
Not that it's going
again,
to take any time.
the episode the scene with the bounty hunters attacking him reinforces that in his brain that
Yeah.
hey, yeah, I need to keep moving fast.
Yeah. And so I just, because I mean, just going off what we know of space travel for now, I mean, it takes a little bit to travel through space without faster than light drives. So sublight must be close to that. I'm assuming it must be close to light travel, but not faster than or exactly to. I don't know. But we do see Boda, which when we first encounter Frog Lady and her eggs, you do see get a look of Boda looking at him like, ooh, what is that? That looks interesting.
Right.
And you're like, okay, this is definitely a kid looking at it like a toddler going, ooh, that looks like maybe something I should play with. We get to his first interaction with him on his own, and he's eating the eggs.
Right.
Because if anything that Boda does is he stuffs his mouth with everything.
Right.
Like, how does this little kid eat so much and stay the same shape? Like,
well, and then the other question is he murdering the kids?
Right. Yeah, that was my thought the entire time. Like, I mean, they're unfertilized, so really they're not a
It's like chicken eggs.
living being or anything, right? But at the same time, it's like we're making light of him eating eggs from a frog. Like, it's like they're sentient beings, and we're making light of that. Their children are dying by having Baby Yoda eat them.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, doing it once was fine. They did it like what 3 or 4 times.
Three
Like,
times
throughout and then like, to the point where like even it's like a little wink joke nod at the very end of the episode because he has one at the very end of the episode. He's just like, I still snuck one. Like, it's if it was anything else, I think it was just a precious cargo that they're taking that was food or something, and he keeps on sneaking it, would have been funny. But the fact that they're a sentient being's spawn, it's the last their spawn last night, and he's still eating them. It felt a little off.
Yeah, it did.
Especially for Star Wars, it felt off.
It definitely did. But yeah, first space trip.
Oh, I forgot. Before we continue on space, there was a robot. The robot Treadwell makes an appearance again. That is cooking the crate dragon meat. Makes another appearance. I didn't realize that this was. I had to look it up because it looks like the robot from Short Circuit. It's got those square eyes and it's got the long thing and the wheels. And I thought, man, is that? I looked up to see if there was any connection between the robot from Short Circuit and this. It's not. It's just it was designed in the first in A New Hope. It was there. It showed up again a couple other times throughout the series and once in the prequel trilogy. But yeah, so Robot Treadwell is another callback to. Again, these robots are all over the place.
Right.
And not much technology has changed. If they're even seen in the prequel trilogy, and they're still now the same robots. I think it also just reinforces the idea that technology is kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
Even though the Razor Crest is an old ship, technically, it must not be. Like you kind of question that if technology is plateaued and this is an old ship, how old is the Razor Crest in design?
Right. Yeah, I've never really been a huge fan of the plateauing technology in Star Wars, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we do see what looks like technically advancements from, the Clone Wars, their Victory class ships to the Star Destroyers, but it's not much of a. It almost seems it's more of just of a design change, not too much in technology, other than that you have the Death Star, which was never seen before,
right.
stuff like that, Star Killer Base. But I mean, still, that's not much.
Yeah. But moving on from there.
Going through space travel, the Razor's Crest does get pulled over by two New Republic X-wings, which we'd said right before we started felt like just a routine traffic stop. Out in the outer rims, these guys are just
They're patrolling.
Taillights out. Your taillights out. We're pulling you over. In this case, his transponder beacon wasn't operating.
Right, and I just love the fact that it's like, I'm pre-Clone Wars. I don't need to have it.
Yeah.
Well.
Then he keeps on trying to hey, whatever. Yeah, it's just not working. I don't think I have it online.
And then even after he satisfies them with one thing, there's a pause. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Razor Crest. We're gonna need this thing from you too.
Yeah. Yeah, it just felt like when you're looking at RPG context, it's like I failed my persuasion check. I failed it. I succeeded, but with bad consequences.
Right, and then of course the switch the channel to.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it was like, crumbs.
Yeah, as soon as they said, can you switch to channel 2? I'm like, oh no, something's going to happen. And then you just look to the right, you see the S-foils lock into attack position. You're like, oh no. It does it on the other one. You're like, oh no.
Which, then they give you a shot of the pilots, which we have Dave Filoni.
Yep, returning Dave Filoni as Trapper Wolf.
Yes.
That's his character name. And then, Paul Sun Hyung Lee. He's from the dad from Kim's Convenience. If anyone has seen that, shows up as the other pilot.
Which, for a second, because of course they bring up all the events of chapter 6, The Prisoner.
Yeah,
and I appreciated the fact that there's consequences for Mando's actions.
Yeah, there's consequences for chapter 6, and then when you think about it, he could have just, because as soon as they asked that question, were you seen by this Republic vehicle, he takes off because he knows it's a bad sign.
Right.
But at the same time, when we find out later on in the episode, if he had just talked to them, he wouldn't have had to run.
Well, I don't know.
I get the feeling. Maybe not.
So,
but the way it ends is kind of like, oh, that was kind of like if I had just done this and not done this other thing, the consequence of this would have been much less than.
See, I don't know about that because, okay, one of my complaints was, well, of course they're going to find the ship. Of course they're going to see all this. Mm-hmm. But you got to remember, Dave Filoni's character Trapper Wolf was there at the end of chapter 6. And probably saw the Razor Crest running away. So,
yeah, they did. So saw the Razor Crest running away from the transponder signal, where they blew up the. So, whatever.
I kind of like the fact that you've got the same pilot still
patrolling the outer rim,
patrolling the same kind of area. But they don't know. I'm sure the warrant was just a, detained for information kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're involved. You're totally involved. Yeah. We just don't know how.
Yeah. Because they said we'll get to it later on in the episode. They talk more to him, but
right.
So he takes off, and so then we have this huge, amazing chasing that we saw at the trailer.
Yep.
going through. We got some canyon runs, ice canyon runs around an ice planet, which I think people originally thought was the planet Ilum.
I've heard Ilum and I've heard Hoth.
But
And
and Hoth. But I know it couldn't have been Ilum because I think the visual dictionary for the sequel trilogy said that Starkiller Base is actually Ilum.
Yeah, they emphasize that, and then Jedi Fallen Order. When you go to Ilum, there's literally a giant trench in the planet already. Yeah. So, that was. I once I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's Starkiller Base.
Yeah, so during that scene, because the way the ship is designed, it's got those two engines on the left and right, which is very reminiscent to me of the Firefly class ship, from Serenity class ship from Firefly, or whatever. And I was wanting a Crazy Ivan the entire time that doing the trip. I wanted a Crazy Ivan, which we got close to somewhat, where he does the stall and drops,
right. Which again,
but not exactly Crazy Ivan.
I liked the way they did the chase scene. I liked the he was trying to outmaneuver them.
Mm-hmm. And the entire time, like, what is he trying to do? That ship's not going to outmaneuver us. We're
right, but
which again, the X-wings technically, I guess, were a newer developed ship. So I mean, that's the one new developed item in Star Wars.
Right.
Is the X-wing starfighter,
and
so obviously they're going to be able to outmaneuver this clunky ship.
I liked how they kept the X-wing pilots like cops, like, don't make us do this, just give up.
Exactly.
Then he crashes.
Then he crashes. I'm like, I was like, he's not getting up from that. That's going to be. So we went from what I thought was going to be a bottle episode in space to we're surviving the elements episode, which in me is one of my least favorite types of episodes. I mean, everybody's like, Stargate's done it, Star Trek does it.
Yeah.
I don't like we're going to survive the elements. It's just, to me, they're boring. You get some character development, but not as exciting as
I do think
other stuff could be.
Like the one at the beginning of Stargate, I don't remember what. I think it was season 1, maybe.
Yeah, so there's an episode in Stargate season 1. They find the second gate. That was good because you had the counterbalance of Daniel going against the Russians.
Yeah.
To keep things entertaining for the episode.
Yeah.
But if it was just Carter and O'Neill, which
plus those characters hadn't been established yet, so I think that gave them a good chance to establish them.
So and it was like I was looking at like, okay, you got two characters who can't talk to each other, and they're gonna do a survive the elements thing. I was prepared to be like, this is gonna be the longest 30 minutes of my life watching this episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want this to happen, but it doesn't. It doesn't turn into a survive the elements type. Specifically.
Yeah. So I do appreciate that they kept around the fact that Zero's head and body were still in the...
I was surprised that he still has that. Like, how much he doesn't like droids. I would assume that he would have gotten rid of that thing like almost immediately after episode 6 or chapter 6.
At the same time, I don't like... I can
then
just
again,
see
maybe he thought it was
Mando
purposeful
collecting stuff.
Yeah, he's just he's a hoarder. Sort of. He's very tidy. Everything's got its spot in space in the Razor's Crest, it looks like, along the walls and the bulkheads.
Right.
But he likes to collect stuff, I guess. Which, I mean, if you're a bounty hunter, I guess you like to collect things.
Yeah.
It must be a prerequisite for the job.
Which, good on Frog Lady for using Zero's head to actually translate.
Mm-hmm. Which we see with the crash, the hull's been compromised. There's this huge gaping hole in the hull of the ship. So you're like, wow, this is either gonna have to find a civilization on this planet, or I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna get off of this without either being taken by the New Republic or finding somebody to miraculously fix their ship on planet.
Yeah.
Were my thoughts once I saw that. Yeah.
But no, and then Mando's like, all right, well, it'll wait till morning. And then she's like, no, it won't. And this is where I think we're getting the Mando as a good dad. Mm-hmm. I do like the fact that she referenced the Mandalorian code, as a you always fulfill your promises, and then you could almost hear the eye roll. It's like
which again we do come across in between these scenes, Boda going after the eggs once more.
Yeah,
and he's like, "How many did you eat?" Like,
yeah.
And then he's just like, "I don't know."
Yeah. But the what am I thinking of? I don't know. I don't know where I was going. Oh no. So, this is my code. I'm sticking to the code. But it's the internal stuff. We're going to follow the code, even when it's hard for me. That I think is a good thing to show Boda too. So
yeah.
But no, I think that scene was pretty good. Yeah.
And again, I'm assuming we jump at least probably a couple hours as he's working on the ship outside, and then Boda comes out. He's like, "Hey, you need to stay inside with the frog lady where it's safe." But he's come out to say, "Hey, the frog lady left." Like,
yep.
You're thinking, why would she leave? I was like, why would you leave? But apparently there must be some. I don't know if she made the hot spring sort of thing, or if it was a naturally occurring like hot spring.
I think it was a naturally occurring thing,
which I'm assuming is a naturally occurring hot spring based off of the thermal vision we had with his helmet.
Right.
She finds a hot spring nearby, and she's bathing and has her eggs just soaking, to keep them warm, I guess. Which is, what she needed to do, I guess.
Right.
But,
and then of course. Boda tries to eat some eggs.
Yeah, again, tries to eat. Doesn't eat any this time, but definitely you're like, he's trying to reach for it like a little kid would.
Yep.
And then we pan across and we see eggs all over not frog eggs, but we see hard-shelled eggs all across the floor. And my first thought was the movie the franchise Aliens.
Yes,
Alien
me
franchise. Too. I immediately thought that I went, oh man, we got face huggers here, which means we've got spiders.
Spiders.
And then Boda goes and tears open an egg and starts eating this baby spider, which again, eating babies. Spiders, I guess, is one thing. It's not really a sentient creature, but still, it's just like, it's a weird thing to keep on emphasizing that we're eating young things.
Yeah. But no, so the spider things, which the moment you saw Boda go for the spiders, you knew bad things were going to happen.
Yeah. You knew as soon as one egg opened up, you're like, the other ones are going to open up, and we're gonna have an issue.
Yep. Which so the spiders, I'm pretty sure they were Krinkas, which it was a bit of what Ralph McQuarrie concept art for The Empire Strikes Back. Probably a creature that was supposed to be on Dagobah. If we didn't see it on Dagobah, but they definitely appeared in Rebels. But yeah, so we go from Boda eating eggs, or trying to eat eggs, to suddenly it's a horror thing and we're being chased by all these spiders.
Thing, and it's it turns from, we had just one kind of creature feature episode in Chapter 9 to we have back-to-back creature feature episodes with this giant spider and spider horde. And you're definitely leaning towards more the horror element, because you have a horde of spiders. There's a lot of movies out there about that. So
right.
Which I just watched. We'll talk about this later, but there is one I just watched on Netflix. It's a newer one that was interesting. But this is part 6. We kind of went over part 5 already. Sorry. 4 and 5 survival mode and frog happens, I think is what I called it. But this one's called Spider Attack, part 6.
I will say we're into our third kind of episode. We had the bottle episode in space.
Sort of, yeah. It's almost like 3 episodes in one type. You just condensed to 40-minute period.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're running back to the Razor Crest, and they're trying to get into the cockpit because it's the only thing that's secure at this point.
Which this whole scene reminded me of why single fire weapons or single attack weapons do not work on hordes that we experience in games like Pathfinder or the D&D universe. When you're attacking swarms of things, you have to burn it with fire and area of effect things, because just taking one at a time, you're obviously like, this is gonna take 1,000 years to just kill this horde, shooting one blaster at a time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which you see, like, I mean, get some excellent gunplay from the Mandalorian here, just shooting things and on the run. Flamethrower, we get the flamethrower a lot in this episode compared to others when he's used it. I think it's the first time we've seen it consecutively used in like in one battle.
Yeah,
multiple times.
Yeah, and then so they make it back to the ship. The ship's being overwhelmed, so he's like, all right, we're gonna it's not fixed, but we're gonna leave anyway.
Which, spiders, zombies, same thing. You know, you get the same feeling. Spiders and zombies.
Yep, pretty much. But they're getting ready to leave, and then suddenly the mama jumps on top of the Razor Crest.
Yeah. And you got this, which looks like, I mean, so they had the mouth thing come and hit the windshield, whatever. And it looked like, to me, I mean, it's just like, that's kind of like what the maw looks like, you know, or not the maw, what's the thing, in the sand?
The Sarlacc?
Sarlacc, yeah, the Sarlacc pit. Their teeth kind of from one of the video games look like that, as edging around, and reminds me of that. But there are a couple other things. You got the multi-layers and shark teeth looking type thing,
right?
Which then out of nowhere we get this huge cannon fire, and it takes out the Big Mama, and then that's when we see the two X-wings are there. Which, how long have they been waiting outside? Watching. I mean, were they just watching him repair the ship, or
no?
they were still to fly by?
I think they were still looking for him.
Yeah,
but
and they just
I don't think they would
hear the blaster fire or whatever, and just.
I don't know if they would have kept looking for hours. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
but anyway,
so I was just wondering if they found him while he was kind of repairing things, and then kind of just were waiting outside that hole. For him to pop up, so then they could just follow him. Maybe. And then when they heard the blaster fire, like, okay, we gotta go investigate this because we heard this thing roar or whatever. And they have some of the most precise fire I've seen in Star Wars as these two Republic soldiers. Like, I mean, I don't think we see them miss a single shot.
I don't think so either. But
from their rifles,
which they looked like the same rifles that Cobb had last episode, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. But so I mean, I was like, man, I don't want to get in a gunfight with these guys. I mean, I think that just reinforced that the Republic has some good training. They're actually, you know, good at their job. Then, if they're that precise, they're not even dinging his ship. They're just hitting spider after spider after spider.
I might have seen a couple ding the ship, but it.
I mean, I didn't see any, but I mean that it could have happened. But still, I mean, when you compare it to the Empire, which apparently misses everywhere, even though only Imperial fire can be so precise.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a theory on that, but.
Oh yeah. There's a theory which we could talk about in another episode.
But
yeah,
like you mentioned earlier, the New Republic pilots are Trapper Wolf specifically. Was like, all right, you know, you're did you do this good stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it wasn't like, so what if I did? It was just like, am I free to go? Just the way he acted was like, he neither confirmed nor denied what they said.
Right. And then it's like, well, what say I forgo my reward on the bounties to have you give me a hand repairing my ship?
Yeah, and I just like that. Like, their response seemed cold, because they're like, "How about next time you just keep your transponder on and we don't blow you out of the sky?"
Right.
And then they just leave. You're like, "Oh, they could have helped. They could have been nice." But then you're like, "No, they kind of did their job. They have other things they need to do." Right.
And he kept them hunting them on this ice planet
Yeah.
for hours.
Yeah, for hours.
But see, here's the thing. I don't know if they would have, if he'd have gone to base with him, if they would have let him go.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think.
I don't think
So
they
I was
would
mentioning
have.
earlier with the consequences. I don't know if they would have actually brought him to base, because I think they would have asked him right there over the comms, like, "Hey, did this happen?"
I
It was my theory, but maybe not. Maybe
I
they would have brought him to base first.
see.
And
Here's
then
the
they probably
thing.
wouldn't have let him go. But
They saw the ship. All they know is the ship is involved.
yeah,
And to me, it's totally believable that Trapper Wolf would, call in a favor and like see the footage from inside the ship. Like, to me, that's totally believable. He saw things happen. He's involved. He's gonna call in a favor and ask to see some of the footage. So, to me, it's totally believable that Trapper Wolf would recognize Mando. But here's the thing. I'm of the opinion they let him go because Trapper Wolf recognized Mando. They didn't know who was in the Razor Crest beforehand.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So yeah, it could have been after the fact, after they see that's Mando there, not
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, they didn't know who it was beforehand. So they take him back to the base. Then they discover it was him. But well, we've already logged him, and we've already, the boss is already involved.
Right.
So
I guess that's just my optimistic nature, thinking they would just ask him right then and there. But yeah, it makes sense either way. More sense to the why he would run and everything. Anyways, that's just in his nature to have run. Like,
right.
I don't have time for this. I gotta keep moving.
I really don't think he likes anyone.
And
in the
he
New
doesn't
Republic.
trust anyone, right? He trusts the Mandalorians, and that's really that's as far as his trust goes, in terms of authority figures.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I mean, it's good episode overall. I do kind of hope we get to see more of X-wings and stuff in the future, because I definitely like the space combat of stuff in Star Wars
me
and
too.
everything. But which I think they'd have a really good shot of a spin-off series of doing a Rogue Squadron thing, especially with how well they've done the chase scenes with X-wings and stuff.
I
now,
would love
to this point.
Honestly, I'd take Wraith Squadron over Rogue Squadron.
Oh well, yeah, Wraith Squadron would be a much better thing to do.
Because
which we could still have. You could still have somebody playing Wedge, still form it like he's on break from Rogue,
right?
Which we said, I think last episode or last time we talked, is canonically because of squadrons.
Yep. It's back in Rogue is back in canon because of squadrons.
Which yeah, I mean Wraith Squadron, because that Wraith Squadron has the better character development and
I think just the better setup.
Character versus character conflict, inner character conflict within a group.
Yeah, and I mean Wraith Squadron was designed to be like for those that don't know, commando squadron. So the idea is they can fly their X-wings, but they can also do commando raids.
Yeah, they're defined. Yeah, definitely more for their commando skills first, X-wing skills second.
Yep. So I would be interested to see that, mostly because you can do a lot with that kind of setup. You don't have to, Rogue Squadron. I love Rogue Squadron, but they're all X-wings, and there's
yeah. Other than the one book, whatever, where they're sneaking onto Coruscant.
Yeah, I mean they did that a couple times.
The Wraith, but I mean that was definitely where Wraith Squadron spawned, was from Rogue Squadron's attempt to sneak in, and they're like, oh, maybe I could do this, but in reverse. And it'd be a much better, espionage unit, type unit, which I mean it is.
Yeah. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode.
That's the end of the episode.
The Razor Crest
Chapter 10. Yeah. They limp off. They're sealed in a cockpit. That's the only thing that can be airtight sealed so that they can survive. I do like the joke. It's like, wake me up if anything happens, or if that door flies off its hinge. And he goes, I'm just joking. If it flies off, we're all dead.
Yeah. And then, of course, it ends with Boda.
Yeah, the last Boda egg thing.
Eating one last egg thing, which, again,
yeah.
I
mean, I get the idea that's funny, but at the same time, it's like, it's these eggs, that's this person's last spawn. It just was too much.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah.
I could see, Boda tries and then finally gets one at the end of the episode.
maybe, yeah.
But
Or even just did it once and then keeps on trying and keeps on being stopped.
yep. But
But the
anyway,
fact that like he keeps on succeeding and it's just a joke is, yeah, it stings the wrong way a little bit.
yeah.
Just runs, which I mean, everybody does it. Everybody has a thing that just doesn't work. And a little insensitive, I think, with some things. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
Yep. Anyway, so yes, Sunday Night RPG.
Yep.
We are a live play, actual play channel. Stuff comes up to YouTube after we do it live on Twitch. I have a backlog. However, I will be switching back to my regular schedule, which is a little less intense soon.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I should be able to get those up soon. But Savage Midgard is on Sunday nights. Carts and regulars are Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we have the people available, and it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, the main issue right now is getting the people available. So
Getting people, and then just especially now, this year has just been crazy with, everybody knows COVID and everything's just kind of crazy and keeping people together and whatnot. But family stuff, life stuff, especially now towards the end of the year where we're at.
yep. So anyway, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week for another Mandalorian episode review.
Chapter 11.
No idea what it's called yet.
TBD.